Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial, I've put away my art journal and I am going to do some mixed media decoupage and I'm going to create an illuminated wine bottle that I'm going to add to my summer decor. So let's get started. So to start off, you need to purchase these cork lights and you'll need a couple sheets of rice paper, a clear wine bottle. You get to drink the wine, clean off the label, and then you want to clean the bottle just with a spray of rubbing alcohol. That just gets off any grease and residue. It'll even take some of the stickiness out. Now, I have a stash of ripped papers here, but I am just going to prepare the rice paper for this. And what I want is I want to get rid of all the straight edges. So I'm just taking a liner brush, getting it wet, and just going along the edge and getting off the edges. And you can do it that way throughout the whole thing, or you can just do it the quick, easy way, which is the way I'm going to do it. I'm just going to rip and I'm taking off any of the straight edges. You want different size shapes, different sizes, different shapes, nothing too big on the bottle. Again, ripping off the straight edge. So I'm going to rip up one whole one and then I'm going to rip more as I need it. Now you're going to select a napkin. I'm using this lovely lavender. I love lavender, grow it in my garden, and love this napkin, which comes from NINNYSNAPKINS.com. Now, I've just rough cut it around, separated it, and we'll come back to that. But right now, we need to glue down all those pieces of rice paper onto the bottle. Now, you'll notice the bottle is sitting on a dish rag, so it doesn't roll. And I am using fluid matte medium to glue down the rice paper. I'm using a generous amount and just picking one at random. I kind of want a straight edge around the bottom, but you can wrap it underneath and fill that up later. And then you want some of the medium on top. I'm using a healthy amount of this, and you are going to want to overlap it. That's going to give some patterning that the cork lights can illuminate through. Speaking of the cork lights and this project, you can buy a illuminated bottle kit from Ninny's Napkins, where you get the rice paper and enough supplies to do 4 different bottles. I don't know if I don't think the napkins are supplied, but you can pick those out, whatever is your favorite. So I'm overlapping and I'm moving up. I'm working fairly quickly because I don't want the matte medium to dry in between. And I'm going to do one side of the bottle first. Now, around where the neck is, the rice paper, once it gets wet, easily molds around it. Just press it down. If there's wrinkles, that just adds to it. You don't have to worry about that. Now, the rice paper has those little bits of fiber in them, and that, again, is what you want to see once the lights are inside. It illuminates, and it looks absolutely lovely, as you'll see in the final product. Of course, it's a little hard to get a good photo of it. Now, a straight edge, if you're going across the top, that's a place where you may want to use that straight edge to get a nice, even, level coverage. But you can wrap it inside the bottle as well. Although, because you want to be able to put the cork in there, I like this way better. So I've done one side and then I am simply going to dry it enough. I don't want it to be tacky when I'm working it. I need to be able to turn it around, and a heat tool, gentle heat from far away. You don't want to heat up the bottle too much, and I don't know what would cause it to crack, but just be aware you don't want to heat it up too much. And then I'm just going to continue gluing down the rice paper till I have complete coverage on all the way around. Warning, you're going to get a lot of matte medium or adhesive on your finger. You may need to stop and wash your hands so that you're not sticking to things. Just be aware. It's kind of a messy job. So I have about a third of a sheet left. And I have these little bits, which I am not going to throw out because I am going to go to my art journal. This is my prompt journal. I'm going to find a page that has already been gessoed. And because I have my matte medium on my brush, I'm just going to glue them all down. And that's going to provide the beginnings of texture for whatever page I can do. So now let's prep our napkin. I've separated this. Now, depending on what napkin you're choosing and what you like, because anything goes, you are going to have a focal image. Maybe you are just going to glue one of the 4 panels on. Maybe you're going to do 2, one on the front, one on the back. What I'm going to attempt is I'm going to take this lavender one and I am going to make it my own composition, and I want to go all the way around the bottle. So I've taken off the excess plies, that's what you've seen me doing, and now I am going to water cut this napkin. Now, I am not leaving it as the napkin artist has given it. I am going to cut apart each or most of the fronds of the lavender. And then I'm going to put it back together in a way that works on my bottle. I can change the height of the lavender. I can change the orientation, how it leans. But the first step is I need to cut them out. And water cutting, I'm removing as much of that excess white napkin as possible. I just like to remove it. It does go mostly clear, and then I'm going to arrange it on the bottle. So I'm just getting rid of the parts that I don't want and isolating each of the stems or stalks of the lavender. And then I'm going to put it back together. So you can use one napkin. If you wanted to do something similar, you could use one napkin with one flower and do as I'm doing. Or you can combine flowers from different napkins. Really, you are only limited by your imagination. So I am just working, and at the beginning I separate or I water cut 2 of this quadrants. In the end, I use pretty much all 4 of the quadrants to go all the way around. But I did stop in between. I did 2 right here, and then I glued them down, and then I decided I needed more, so then I cut more. This napkin, like the rice paper and the cork light, came from NINNYSNAPKINS.com, and there is a link in the description box. Now, here's a tip. Instead of trying to figure it out on the bottle, I figured out the composition on a piece of paper. I like how it goes. I'm bending it, building it, and then I will take it off the paper and then glue it on my bottle one side at a time. I kind of do the front portion of the bottle and the back. So again, I'm putting it on the dish rag so it doesn't roll away. Alternatively, you can put some rice in a bag and then that will hold your bottle in place while you're working on it. So here I had to take a deep breath and say, okay, let's start. I can't figure out everything perfectly, but I'm going to start and I'll figure out the rest as I go. Here I'm putting a coat of the fluid matte medium, and then I'm lining up the stalk of the lavender on the bottom and then making sure I've got coverage of the fluid matte medium here. Now you got to be gentle when you are brushing the matte medium over top of the napkin. The napkin, unlike the rice paper, is way fragile. And if you rub too hard, it will rip. You can always fix it, but It's just easier to be a little bit more gentle. So here I am just making my composition. I'm going higher or lower. If I want the stalk to be a little bit higher, then I'm going to fill it in with some of the smaller ones at the bottom. I also have the option of cutting those stalks of lavender shorter. They don't have to be as long, or I lengthen some of them, and you're going to see me doing that as well. I can lean the lavender to the left, to the right. I can even decoupage it down upside down if I wanted to lean in an opposite direction. I love these lavenders because they are going quite far up the bottle. So a lot of the bottle is going to have this color. And so while it's absolutely gorgeous when it's illuminated, it's also very colorful and attractive when it's not illuminated, just as a home decor item. So I'm getting to the point where I've kind of got the front part here and I want to be adding more. But the part that you're seeing that I've glued down already is wet. If I touch it, what's going to happen here is I'm going to rip the napkin. So you do need to stop here if you're going to add more. If you want to go all the way around, dry it with the heat tool or hair dryer, or wait for it to dry, and then continue on. Here, the stalk was short. I'm just piecing two of the purple ones together to get a long purple one. So you can see how I'm really altering the composition of the napkin using the napkin art as the base, but I'm adjusting it for my substrate, for the bottle. And again, my fingers are getting very tacky. When they're sticky like that, when you got a buildup of the matte medium, you're more likely when you touch the wet napkin to rip it. So take time, wipe off your fingers, wash your fingers, use a baby wipe, use a wet washcloth or whatever to keep that off your fingers. You'll just be a lot happier. So somewhere in here, I think I stopped off, filming, and I did watercut the other two quadrants of the lavender napkin. Now it's mostly dry and I am loving it. Think it looks good. Loving the colors. Now I've taken the cork light, I've unwound it, and then you're just going to feed it in the bottle. This takes a little time and you'll see. Now the cork lights, when you buy them from Ninny's Napkins, you can get warm white or cool white or a multicolored one. You can also buy the cork lights off of Amazon. Loving the look of this. There are pictures at the end where it's not looking so yellow. I think that might be the light in my studio. I wanted to add the dragonfly there to my bottle. But gold, there's nothing of gold in the napkin. And silver wasn't showing up. So I put a little bit of silver on my craft mat, and then I put a little gold, and I'm stamping with both. It lightens the gold just enough so it doesn't look so totally out of place. And the silver, but you get that luminescence. Now, the dragonfly ended up being too big, so I used a butterfly stamp. You could use a sentiment stamp here, the word love or peace or joy. And I am stamping on, that's an excess ply of napkin. I'm stamping on it. I'm making my own decoupage paper here. And I'm just stamping. Now I'm going to stamp way more than I think I'm going to need because not everyone is going to stamp perfectly. Sometimes when you water cut them out, something happens. So I'm just going to fill this napkin with these stamped images, these half silver, half gold stamped images. Then I am going to dry them with my heat tool before I get to the next step. So once they're dry, I'm simply going to watercut it the same way I did with the lavender. The acrylic paint kind of provides a barrier so you can't really rip it, which is an added advantage. And then I'm just going to pull out each of the butterflies. And once I have several cut out, I'm going to grab the bottle and decoupage them down where I want them. Some closer to the lavender, some up the neck of the bottle. And while you can't see it too much when it's not illuminated, when it is illuminated, you really do see the butterflies. The napkin, the white part of the napkin goes completely translucent. You can't even see that it's there. And I thought I'd finish this off. I grabbed a leftover stock of the lavender and I'm going to decorate the top of the bottle. On another one, I've painted it, the rim of the bottle, but I like this look too. Now, when I've done this bottle, I've also overpainted the focal image, the napkin that we decoupaged down. But I was loving the way this looked, and I just didn't see it being necessary to overpaint it. Maybe another time. So there is my bottle in my home decor. Loving the colors, loving how it turned out. I will enjoy illuminating the bottle. So I hope you give this a try. Have fun with it. Until next time, go get creative.